All right, our Minnesota Vikings have actually been listed as a potential landing spot for free agent running back Derrick Henry. He's getting up there in age, about 29 years old, almost 30, and kind of hitting that part where, the part in their career where running backs start to kind of, the wheels start to fall off, or at least the tread on the wheels is a little bit, worn down, if you will. So I really don't know how to feel about this whole situation, but the one thing I do know is our run game this past season was very, very bad. The only person to really get, I think, a rushing touchdown was Cam Akers and Ty Chandler. Alexander Madison, who was supposed to be our starting running back, didn't even reach the end zone. He looked horrible the entire season. So obviously, the running back position is one that we need to address this offseason, whether that be in the draft, taking somebody later, in the later rounds, or going out in free agency and picking up one of these younger running backs, or even potentially Derrick Henry, which we thought we could end up trading for midway through the season. He was a potential trade target for us. We looked into that. That did not happen, okay? But now he's a free agent, and there's speculation of where Derrick Henry might end up because, again, right, he's getting up there in age. He's not producing like he once was, even though he's still a freak of nature, still putting up decent numbers and stuff like that. You can see that the wheels are starting to fall off. But, hey, you never know what's left in the tank, and just whatever it takes to make our running back room better, I'm all in for, but it has to be for the right price, and Derrick Henry might be a little spendy. So let's get right into it. Right now, PFF's Brad Spielberger recently listed the Vikings and Ravens as a potential landing spots for Derrick Henry this offseason. So before we get to that, subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. Here's what he said. Minnesota's rushing attack was one of the least efficient across the NFL this past season, and they may also be looking to bring along a young quarterback, whether or not they keep Kirk Cousins in the field. This front office may not be viewed as one very likely to pay top dollar to the running back position, especially after they sharply moved on from Dalvin Cook before the 2023 season, but maybe there's enough of a buy low opportunity here on Derrick Henry. So again, releasing Dalvin Cook, getting rid of him early, we obviously don't want to pay that position a bunch of money at this point in time, especially when you have Ty Chandler, Kene Nwangwu in the backfield. But still, you never know what you're going to get as long as it's for a good price, right? But Derrick Henry is a four-time Pro Bowler and the 2020 NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Now, he's 36th all-time in rushing yards with 9,502 and tied for 13th in rushing touchdowns with 90, putting him on track to reach Canton, okay, with a few more productive seasons, if he gets a few more productive seasons, which I think he will. Now, his numbers last year fell off a bit from his peak 2019 to 2022 run, but it would be hasty to call him washed at this point. Derrick Henry still put up 12 touchdowns and nearly 1,400 yards total, or from scrimmage, I guess you could say, on a struggling Titans offense. More notably, his 90.2 PFF grade trailed only Christian McCaffrey among running backs with at least 150 carries. Now, the Vikings' Alexander Madison ranked 36 out of 37 in that department with a 61.8 grade. That's our starting running back. That's who our organization decided to roll with last season. And it didn't get us nowhere, regardless of the offensive line play, regardless of anything. Look, plain and simple, the eye test told me our backups ran a lot better than Alexander Madison did. So we have to fix that position group. But for Henry to make sense for the Vikings, he'd have to come at a somewhat reasonable price. At 30 years old and coming off a slightly down season, maybe he would, right? There are younger marquee options in this year's free agent running back class, including Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, and Austin Eckler, and a couple others that I'll mention here at the beginning or at the end of this. But the counter to that idea is that he's Derrick Henry. It's the king, right? It's Derrick Henry. He's getting up there. So I'm just saying, all right, he probably isn't signing a cheap deal, which is worrisome, especially if you think like you're a team that wants to add him. Do you really want to pay him top dollar for a couple seasons, and then all of a sudden either A, he gets hurt during the middle of that, or B, he just underperforms, like when Dalvin Cook went to the Jets, right? That's one thing you have to worry about. But PFF's contract projection for Derrick Henry currently is 2 years, $20 million with $13 million guaranteed. My thinking is the Vikings might be more interested if that AAV was closer to $7 or $8 million. Basically, they're saying, look, $7 to $8 million per year would be a lot better than paying him $10 million per year and then giving him $13 million guaranteed. which I think would be a perfect market. I think that the Vikings want to pull the trigger on that one. Let's say it's a 2-year contract, $14 million, or 2 years, $16 million, $10 million guaranteed or whatever. That's a lot better than if you're going to pay a guy $20 million or $13 guaranteed. It just makes a little bit more sense. But this is far-fetched. This probably, most likely won't happen just for the fact that he's going to be expensive. He is up there in age when we have these younger guys in our backfield already. Plus, we drafted another guy, can't think of his name off the top of my head, from Dwayne McBride last year. So we still have these young guys in that running back room, which we might not even have to focus on it. We just have to kind of maybe look to see if there's better options and maybe younger options and stuff like that. And they said after this article was written that if it's not Derrick Henry, probably the most viable option for the Vikings in free agency would be Devin Singletary, which is weird because when he was on the Bills, I didn't like Devin Singletary. And then what he was doing with Houston Texans last year, I'm like, okay, he's got some juice, the right fit. That was perfect. He comes to Minnesota, and if he does what he did in Houston, I'd be pretty pumped up about it. I really think I would like that production stuff. But Derrick Henry has been listed as a potential, or the Minnesota Vikings, I should say, has been listed as a potential landing spot for Derrick Henry. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I don't expect you guys to be all for this because I'm not really all for this. If it happens, sweet. But how are we going to, do this, salary cap gymnastics and stuff to add him and get all these other players done or to get their deals done? So you guys let me know your thoughts in that comment section below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of the night, folks, and Skol Vikes.